Well, isn't technology wonderful? Facebook dropped the feed out of the blue. No understanding the reasons behind that, but that's what happened. Anyway, we were in the middle of discussing training, and hopefully folks rejoin. Um, eh, I'm obviously going to edit these two parts together in the YouTube video and just replace it with one consistent video. Just to recap, talked a little bit about at the very beginning about where the book's at. The book is with the designer. We've had a couple of exchanges back and forth discussing layout and where things need to go. I've seen a couple different versions of the preliminary layout, given her some suggestions for tweaks and things. I'm optimistic that we should see the book in print. See the final version of the layout so that I can okay it for print by the end of this week. That's my optimistic guesstimate. It's kind of not in my hands unless I want to spend a extra several $100s to put a rush on it. But it is in a process. Manuscript is completely done. The photos have been submitted to the designer. I've published the preliminary version of the cover. When we nail down how many pages are going to be in the book, then we will finalize the cover design, because we have to know how thick the spine is going to be in order for the cover to be designed correctly. Other than that, listen, if you've got training questions or you're not real happy with what's going on with your trainer or whatever, however you're working with your service dog, that's why I created the PTS Dog group. And you can access that group. I think there's a link to it on the PTS Dog page. Just look up in Facebook, PTS Dog group. Join the group. I don't turn anybody away. There are a lot of very experienced service dog handlers in that group. There's a lot of trainers in that group. There's a lot of resources there. That's why I created the group. If you're confused about something your trainer's doing, don't understand the motivation, or you don't like something your trainer's doing, or you just want something more, or if you're training yourself and you're just running into a problem, I created the group as a place where you can go and say, hey, I need some help. This is what's going on. This is what I got happening. And I'm at a loss. I don't know what to do. Can you help me? Can you give me some suggestions? There's a lot of people. I mean, even I make suggestions sometimes, but I kind of let that group kind of handle itself. The group is also a safe place to discuss PTSD. I mean, it's a place to go where you can talk to one another and say, man, I'm having a rough day. There's nothing wrong with that, posting that in a group. The only rules I have in the group is no politics and don't go after each other. No attacks. I start seeing personal attacks, I will kick you out of my group. That's not what it's there for. It's there to support one another as we undergo our PTS dog journey, our service dog journey. So please, if you're new to handling, if you want to explore the possibility of using a service dog, if you are training your own service dog and you're just stuck, that is a good place to go to reach out to some experienced people. And I monitor the group. I look at the posts there, and if it's a question that really is serious and needs to be addressed, if I don't know the answer, I go to people who I know might have the answer, and ask them and point them to I'll send them, there's several people who are members of the group who I'll send the link to, and say, hey, I know you're experienced with this. Could you give this person a hand? And sometimes they're able to, and sometimes they're not. And they go to someone that they know and say, hey, do you know the answer to this? That group was created to become a resource for all of us. I don't have all the answers when it comes to training. I can tell you what my experience is with the dogs I've trained through my life. I can't tell you how to train your dog. I can give you suggestions of techniques and tactics that may work, but that's your dog, I know some general information, but I don't understand the individual dog. I can't help you train your dog unless you and your dog are right in front of me. And then again, I can only make suggestions about what you may or may not be able to do in order to get the dog to perform whatever tests you needed to do. So again, sorry about Facebook. I don't know why Facebook dropped the video. That was real screwy. Let's see. Yeah, Brent, it really is great to get input from other trainers. And I go to the group and ask questions, hey, Skeeter's doing this to me. What do you think? Not very often. Skeeter and I have a pretty good system down. He lets me know when I'm getting out of line, and I let him know when he's getting out of line. Let's see. Is there anything else to talk about? I gave you an update on the book. Again, I'm sorry that Facebook cut us off kind of mid-question. I don't even remember what we were discussing during that last live video. So I apologize about that. There wasn't really anything I could do about it. It was Facebook. Let's see. Don't forget the Service Dog Show with PTS Dog. Last week, I did a special live edition of the Service Dog Show. It was a great show, really good discussion, conversation. And next week, Mike, I hope you're back. If you're not, I hope I don't screw this up. Next week, I'm going to be talking to Mike Novak of Paws for Our Patriots out in Washington State. I'm 99.8% sure that's the correct name of his up-and-coming 501c3. They help train service dogs for veterans, and they do a cooperative training program. So I think next week's show is going to be pretty good. I met Mike a little over a year ago, and I helped him get his service dog, Decker, through a program that unfortunately the founder of passed away. The program is no longer. It's going to be good to catch up with Mike and see where he's gone in his life from there. Brent, yes, there are going to be signed editions of the book. I closed the pre-sales. So basically from here on out, if you want a signed edition, you've got to come to one of my events that I'm still trying to figure out how to plan for this summer. I am going to be doing a couple of road trips, one at the end of this month, and then the purpose of this road trip is to go to a wedding. I will be making some stops elsewhere, but I'm going to Nebraska for a wedding. Then I'm going to go visit some friends and family in Colorado. I'm going to try to work in some kind of a book event if the book is in print by the end of this month while I'm there. If the book is, which it should be, I'm again, I'm not in charge of the timetable right now. The book is with the designer. The designer and I are back and forth through email about changes, about how I want things to look. But I don't foresee this back and forth going on much longer than this week. I'm really happy with where the design of the book is going. It is in color, so, but not crayon. Sorry, Marines. It is in color. There are going to be color photographs in there. And so there's a lot of specific things as the book is being laid out that have to be done so that it can translate into the e-versions. There will be an ebook version as well as a hard copy book. Why? Because you can't hand somebody who desperately needs to understand what you're going through or what the ADA is, what the law is all about, an ebook. But you can hand them a copy of PTS Dog, a physical copy, and say, you need to read this. This will tell you everything you need to know. That's why I wrote the book. Got a buddy who says, man, I wish I could have a service dog. Well, what do you know about it? Really nothing. Here, read this. Take this book. Give it to somebody else who needs it when you're done with it. Or give it back and buy your own copy. But read this. The book is not very long on purpose. It's an educational tool. It's a tool for encouragement if you're using a PTSD service dog or thinking about it. It's a resource. There are a lot of, a lot of references to the applicable laws that you can give to somebody. You can say, look, this is a quote from the law. Look, here's the reference. Look it up. Right here. Here, type it into your computer, ada.gov/ and so it's designed, honestly, I kind of wrote it so if you needed to, you could carry it around in your back pocket. And when that knucklehead at the Days Inn in Pagoima says, well, you can't bring that dog in here, you can go, let me show you the law. Okay. And you can actually go to quotes from the law in the book. But that quote from the law is wrapped around the story of a veteran who uses a PTSD service dog and had a problem. So that's why I wrote the book. That's why I wrote the book the way I did. It quotes the law often, and that's kind of boring. But wrapped around those quotes is the story about how that came up, about this veteran who was going here and had this issue. Brent, that's a good question, and I don't know. I will ask the designer. Brent is asking if there's going to be a large print edition. That's a good question. I'm getting to the point where I might need a large print edition, if you know what I'm saying. Good. Look, buddy, I'll talk to the publisher and ask if that's an option. I don't know. I honestly don't know. That's something I'll ask the publisher. I will send a message to the publisher as soon as I'm done with this, the second part of this live feed, and ask if there's going to be a large print edition. I'll get back to you about that. Let's see. So anyway, again, sorry, I don't know why Facebook cut off the last, we'd gone for almost 45 minutes and all of a sudden, boop, there it went. Apologize about that. Please go back and do look at that live feed. We're having a good conversation there. I will edit these two together when I put it on YouTube so that it's just one continuous video. I think I can do that. And so when I drop the link to the YouTube video of the live feed, if you just want to watch one time at a time, it'll all be in one video. I really don't have a lot more to put out. Like I said, right now the big deal is just getting the book into print, and it's back and forth with emails between me here on the East Coast and the designer who's in California. So there's a 3-hour time difference, and I'm sure mine's not the only book that she's laying out and designing. But it's being done. I've seen a couple different versions. I like where the color, the some of the little things she's doing. But, at the same time, I know in my head what I want my book to look like. And so there are things I'm asking her to change because they're not fitting what I need the book to do. There are some things that I think will make it easier for you to be able to access if it is designed in a certain way so that when it's in print, you can find it like that. That's all I have, unless anybody has any other questions. Thank you very much for joining me. And if you rejoined me, thank you for rejoining me. If you didn't know there was a video prior to this because Facebook cut it off, you can go back and look at it. It's in the timeline. And once again, I will edit the two together in YouTube and make it one video so you can watch the whole thing. Have a good rest of your weekend. Thank you very much for your time and for joining me. Don't forget, next Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern on dvradio.net, you can listen to the Service Dog Show with PTS Dog. I will be talking to Mike Novak of Pause for Our Patriots. I think I'm hoping I'm getting that right, Mike. You better correct me if I'm not. Out in Washington State. And it should be a really good show. You can catch previous episodes of the Service Dog Show with PTS Dog at dvradio.net. Just hit the podcasts button in the menu across the top there, and you can go back through all the prior episodes. If you want to be on the Service Dog Show with PTS Dog, email me at ptsdog@ptsdog.co and let me know why you should be on the radio show, and we'll work it out. That's all I have for you. Have a great rest of your weekend. Thanks, guys.